Hello, and welcome back to my series on Twilight Princess Any Percent speedrunning, specifically the beginner route on the Wii version of the game. In the last video, we completed the slingshot segment, and in this video, we will be reviewing the Talo segment. During this segment, it will be important to optimize our movement speed and our lines. I'll be talking about how to chain your rolls and touching on some movement speed information from the last video. A minor trick we'll be performing in this segment is Ordon gate clip. And the optional speed strat I want to talk about today is item wheel and map efficiency using the pointer. On the Wii version of Twilight Princess, we save time over the GameCube version by having more item slots on the HUD and being able to use the cursor in the item wheel to equip items quicker. In order to optimize your run, you can study the item wheel at varying points to see where items are located. I'll show an example of this during the upcoming Talo segment video when I equipped Lantern and Slingshot. The goal is to have the item wheel open for as little time as possible, sometimes getting items onto the HUD, then moving them around with the D-pad during the run without opening the item wheel. This can also be said about the map. Before a warp, you can pre-aim to where the portal appears on the screen. I'll mention this once we get to the Master Sword segment and throughout the run. These are both implementations that come with time and learning where things are located on the screen. However, I wanted to mention it as it is good to begin learning these locations as soon as possible. Essentially, whenever you need to select something on the screen, it's good to know where it is and point your cursor at that location before it even pops up so you can select it immediately. Alright, so picking up from where we left off last video, we're going to be doing the Talo split today. After exiting Sarah's shop, I'm going to do a DF walk here to get around this rock and enter the load zone back to Link's house. We'll do some tech smashing here to advance Russell's techs as fast as possible, and then roll to the Ordon Spring load zone. Once we clear this load zone, we're going to be picking up the rock and doing Ordon gate clip. When I bring the rock over to the gate, I'm going to put it down a little bit early, meaning I'm not going to be right up against the gate when I put it down. This saves a little bit of time. We know from decomp that when you roll into the Ordon gate, it alternates which direction it swings every 8 frames. Therefore, it seems that if you were to use a metronome, you would be able to be 100% consistent. However, it also seems that although the swing animation matters for the trick, Link's angle and position also play a role in whether or not the trick works. So, even though the trick is not RNG per se, it is very hard to be consistent with having a successful clip every attempt. Regardless, if you fail the trick, you can always try again by adjusting the rock back into position. You can adjust it by picking it up and placing it, or by nudging it back into position while it's still on the ground. You may find it easier to target walk into the rock to nudge it. Now that we're in Farron, we're going to call Epona. Epona movement can be finicky if you're not used to the controls. She is more touchy with her angle change than Link is, so avoiding harsh angle adjustments with Epona can help you avoid running into the wall or rubbing up against it and losing your speed. You also want to try to have evenly spaced dashes, and I try to dash every 4 gallops or so. Now that we have picked up the lantern from Koro, we need to equip it from the item wheel onto the B button. We will also be equipping the slingshot. A fun part about the Wii version is that we can use the cursor in order to equip items more efficiently. You'll notice when I do my equips that I'm pre-aiming to where the lantern is and know where the slingshot is located in the item wheel, so I can move there quickly. The goal is to not be in the item wheel for too long. It is also fastest to double tap for the last equip, meaning that if you were to rewind the video, you'll notice that I double tapped D-pad right when I equipped the slingshot. This saves the animation of the item moving into the position on the HUD. After the double tap, I'm trying to press A as soon as possible to close the item wheel. I wanted to make a note that chaining rules effectively and taking good lines can have a big effect on your run. I recommend watching the Community Sum of Best segment to take a look at the optimal movement for this split. I also recommend practicing your roll timing, and this can be done efficiently in TPGZ by using the roll checker tool. Some runners single tap their rolls and others double tap their rolls. The purpose of double tapping rolls is to try and minimize time loss by pressing A to roll too early, as this is a common way of missing a roll. You can also check your roll timing real time by looking at the HUD. When the item lights up on the HUD, that means that you've missed a roll. But if the items stay grayed out, that means you've been chaining your rolls effectively. For the first year or so of speedrunning TP, I would entirely go by feel for roll timing. As with most things, it is best to have a cue to be more consistent. I now look at the height of Link's head to time my rolls, pressing A when his head is just below standing height. This has greatly improved my consistency. I wanted to take a moment and recommend that you watch the slingshot video to learn more about movement speeds, as I'm implying multiple different ways of reaching max speed before beginning to chain rolls in this split. This slope in particular can be pretty brutal if you miss a roll, so it is important to practice rolling uphill to keep as much speed as possible. Once we get to the top of this slope, we're going to be luring the bocos over to the cage. I find stopping in front of the cage results in the bocos behaving more often. You'll notice that we don't have a weapon to break the cage, so we're going to let the bocos do it for us. Once they've broken the cage, we're going to use the slingshot to kill the bocos. If you line it up right, you can get these double hits, which saves a lot of time. And with that, you've made it through the Talo segment. In the next video, we'll be going over the Zelda segment, and I hope to see you there. See ya!